Everybody, I am now inside the Museum Hall of Pep Talk Veterans Association, and I'm going to share some stories of the veterans in their own words. So, with me here today, I have 4 Korean War veterans. There are only 500 remaining in the entire country. 7,500 went, but here they are. Now, quiz time before I start. How old do you think? My grandpa here, that's young. How old do you think he is? Okay? If you guessed 86, not even close. Grandpa, how old? How young are you?
96 years young.
96 years young. I think he's living up to his name because his name is Maximus Young. So we will start with him because he is the youngest. Okay, so I'm going to start here. Grandpa, do you want to face this way?
No, it's okay.
Okay. So please tell us your name, your. He also served in World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. Yes. But right now, could you show us? Tell us some of your experiences in the Korean War.
The Korean War.
Yes.
Well, the first experience we had was when we arrived there at the first night. We were told to sleep in the field. Now, we were issued sleeping bags. Now, the following morning, I was surprised. Instead of my soldiers waking up at 5 or 6, as early as 3 o'clock, they were already screaming. Because some of them noticed some of their sleeping bags were with snakes. So we were sleeping in a rice field with their painted snakes. So that was the start of our day when we arrived at Korea. Then from there on, we walked to Saigon, and from there we stayed there for another week before we had an encounter at our main line, our road of our supply line. And our supply line, we were informed by the 3rd Army Commander that the supply route has been destroyed by some Korean stragglers who were not in their unit, and they were disturbing our supply line. To the point that some of our trucks were destroyed, some of our trucks were rotted outside. So what the commander did was for us to reconnoiter the place, which is Mudong, but our target area was Shinji. That was the place where most of these North Koreans were. It was on the 11th November of 1951, when we were told to reconnoiter to Morse patrol the area. Now, as we were going north towards Mudong before Shinji, our truck hit a landmine. The landmine more or less threw our truck about 5 to 10 meters high, and the 3 people were there they were harmed, but the bullets they were thrown up. Now, that was a signal then that we were during an encounter, because in military operations, they usually place some obstacles before they reach the main line. So in that particular case, we were already advised that the landmine was an initial warning to the troops that an enemy is coming. As we passed the bend, clearing the bend, we went straight, and in a certain area, which was about 800 yards, we saw later on some trenches. When our last group passed the bed, that's where they started firing at us. It was 9 o'clock in the morning.
I just want to stop here because isn't his memory impeccable? I mean, how do you remember all the details? What time it was? Oh my goodness.
My goodness.
I can barely remember what time it is right now.
Remember you, look, when you visited me, you were beautiful.
Yeah. Oh.
You were strong. But seeing you made me stronger.
And when he's referring to his last year I visited Manila, he was in the hospital. So I visited him in the hospital wearing a mask.
Oh yeah, all right. When they fired at simultaneous. In other words, if this is here, there are about 10 bunks. All of those bunks were occupied by soldiers. In other words, they are ready for any eventuality in case somebody disturbs their area. So when our last element cleared a certain area and our acquaintances from the extreme north, they started firing at us. All of their weapons were fired at us. Now, our tank were maneuvered essentially that the first tank is followed by soldiers, so on and so forth. I was with the fourth tank. Now, when they fired at us suddenly, we were paralyzed. Even the soldiers had to crawl beside our tank. So what we did was to steady on. But they keep on firing. So I was surprised that nobody answered. So I looked at the periscope and found out that the soldiers there were already dropping. They were already dropping. And a certain element there was pinpointing a certain area. They were ready for attack. So I said, it's terrible because we were at the mercy already. So what I did, I maneuvered my tank, back up, and then turn right to the hills. But it so happened that on the right side was a backyard. So my tank went down instead of going up. So what I did is I told my driver to try to maneuver to have it to lift it up, but it was impossible because the ditch was deep. So what I did, I opened the tank, the turret. Usually you have a periscope. You can see the whole area by looking at the periscope. So I tried to look at the periscope. And so the soldiers broke in already and giving instructions. So I opened the door of my tank and went up and I saw the machine gun there. We have an in-place machine gun, 45 caliber. There was no protection. I suddenly go up and more or less load. I had five boxes of caliber 55 and started firing at the group where they were assembled. As I started firing, when I fired, they were already jumping. You know, the caliber 50 machine gun has a very loud noise. For every 5 bullets, there's one pressure to find out where your direction of your firing. I continued firing tracer bullets. That is a sort of a tracer to which you'll find out where your bullets are going through. So I started firing along the trenches. I also fired because there were soldiers. I continued firing for almost 10 minutes. So when I started firing, my soldiers stood up and started firing.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, our artillery supported the fire.
So we just finished watching it.
After 45 minutes.
Yes, he was a hero.
Wow.
And he's not saying
That's incidental.
And he's not saying it, but he's a hero. And you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna show.
Okay.
Look at him. His medals, right? And he received recently, 2 years ago, the Order of Military Merit, which is, I think, the highest honor from Korea, from the president. So look at the medal. So this was donated to the museum, and now it's displayed here. That is grandpa Maximus died. And I know, since I remember from last year, his secret to staying young is he's active, he plays a lot of badminton, and he's very, very optimistic, and he has a beautiful wife. So that's the secret, okay?
And for the meantime, stop calling me grandpa. I'm just as beautiful and handsome as you are.
Yes, you were more like an uncle.
Okay.
But I'm also going to ask
General.
General. So he retired as a brigadier general, right?
Yes, I am a retired general
Yes.
in the armed forces.
Yes.
But I was only second lieutenant at the time I went to Korea in the 2nd Battalion Combat Team. And this was the, actually they said, you 2nd BCD, you went there to enjoy yourself because there was already a ceasefire. And the United Nations forces were already at the demilitarized zone. But then, upon arrival in Yangu Valley, or that portion of the demilitarized zone, wherein the United Nations forces were laid out, we were assigned as a division reserve of the 24th U.S. Division, the 2nd Battalion Combat Team. So actually, we didn't, by the time we got there to Korea, somewhere in the early 54, there was no more fighting, but then there was a ceasefire, but no peace. That's how it was. We understood that there were possibilities that the Communist Chinese would resume their infiltration through the demilitarized zone. So,
You're absolutely right. So even after the ceasefire was signed, there were many skirmishes, there were
true.
still fighting, and people even died
yes,
on both sides.
in fact, a squad of my men, about 8 men, when we were asked to patrol the area and make sure no infiltration from the Communist Chinese, blew up the landmine, and the whole squad of 8 men, of my men, in the 2nd Battalion Combat Team disappeared on the landmine. Yes.
And he retired as a brigadier general for how many years?
I've been a brigadier general since 1970.
And he's only 86 years old.
92.
Oh, just kidding. 92. Oh man, I think I need to move to the Philippines because something you're drinking there, you seem very young. Okay, this is now the president of Pep Talk. Now, he's 90, 91 years young. Yes.
91 years old.
Young, yes. What
I
was...
went to Korea, I was 25 years old.
Yes.
Second lieutenant. Later made temporary first lieutenant. Our first employment was at Satire Valley, the advanced for the open area where the enemy can easily advance. We were in a blocking position, Satire Valley. Well, we stayed there only for about a few weeks. There is not exception, but after about I think about a month, there was an action. An American division, the 279 Infantry Brigade of the 45th Thunderbird Division.
Yeah.
The Thunderbird Division suffered a very heavy casualty. A very heavy casualty, and they lost almost, I think they almost wiped out more than one company. So we were made to
Replace them.
to replace them and climb up the hill.
Yes, I saw in the movie. In the
Yeah,
film.
and as we go up, we were passing by the trail where on the side is that pile up because there's so many casualties. You pass through sacks and sacks of the dead people. So sometimes you have to bounce.
Sometimes
That's
I
true.
vomit.
The smell.
The smell of the dead, soldier. I know. You still remember that, huh?
Ah,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. You have to remember.
Well, I hope that now you reflected and it's not traumatic for you anymore. I hope that, okay, that you don't get nightmares.
Very good.
Oh, no, I was young and then we trained before we
Yes,
went.
we trained before going.
trained properly. So we thought we believe we will never die.
That's true.
Well, I hope you will live forever. Okay. Last but not least, the youngest of the bunch. You're the youngest, right?
Right.
Yes. Okay. Now tell us your story.
Oh, first of all, you might be interested to know why I went to Korea.
Okay, I am interested.
I was 18 years old, newly graduated from high school, when someone, Malachi, actually,
Invite.
someone stole my girlfriend,
Uh-oh.
me. And because of my desperation, I thought of volunteering for service in Korea.
Oh.
So, what I did was, got myself enlisted as a private in April of 1952, and by March of the following year, I was already in Korea.
Mm.
I was barely 21 when I was in Korea. I found the Korean women, particularly, very amusing.
Amusing. Amusing.
And actually, 3 months after we were committed to the front line, I enjoyed my first taste of R&R, meaning rest and recuperation, in Seoul, where I met beautiful women. I tell you, they were very accommodating. In fact, the second time I met her, after 1 month, she was already my girlfriend.
Oh.
Hunting,
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Now, I feel very lucky in Korea. When I arrived in Korea in March of 1953, I was promoted to PFC, 1 strike, 1 round a year. After 2 months, corporal. After 5 months, sergeant.
Wow.
In a period of 5 months, I got 3 stripes. But that is not
Sergeant.
In September of the same year, September 1953,
First sergeant.
I was sent to Tokyo, Japan, to be the liaison sergeant of the 14th PCT to the United Nations Command in Pershing Heights,
Oh.
Tokyo, Japan.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was a bonus for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
For my gallantry and heroism in action, not in the front lines, but in the contents. Because I belong to the group concerned with administration. I never saw the front lines. I was behind, in an office. And so, after that, I was still in Japan when my unit, the 14th PCT. By the way, I am very proud of the 14th PCT. There is something which holds the 14th PCT distinct from the other PCTs.
Yes.
We stopped the shooting war in Korea. Did you know that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Armistice was signed at Panmunjom on July 27, 1953. And the Pep-Talk unit that was in Korea at that time was, coincidentally, the 14th Avenger Battalion where Colonel Belen and I diminished.
Wow.
So that is my experience in Korea.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
You know, I'm actually very, it's very nice to see that your memory of war is not so dark, but it's actually, you know, he's a great storyteller, and you know, he has a very good sense of humor, you know. So I love the fact that your recollection is very positive.
Yeah.
I love that you're not holding like pain and bitterness. So thank you so much, and you're absolutely correct. I also love the fact that you take so much pride in what you and the 14th Battalion contributed, you know? I think every soldier who went to Korea should be very proud. You know, it doesn't matter, like you said, whether you were in the front lines or in the back line or in the office. It takes an entire military, not only one military, but of many different United Nations.
Yeah.
And then that's how we were able to stop fighting.
Yeah.
And, well, technically the war hasn't ended, but look at me, I was able to, you know, gain freedom thanks to you and to all of you. And so all of them, I gave this heart.
Yeah.
Yay! Yay! Do you remember my heart with the flag, American flag? Well, since they're Filipinos and not American, look, I gave them this piece of my heart. Yes, much love. Much love. That all of you can remember my heart, my love, my gratitude.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Maraming salamat po.
Oh yes, salamat. And so again, everybody, these are my grandpas, my Filipino grandpas. Yay! So I'm so grateful that they came to meet me today upon such short notice. So everybody, let's say, what's a good Filipino word to say?
Mabuhay.
Okay, mabuhay.
Mabuhay.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Maraming salamat po.
Yangamida.